Hi all, welcome to ClearIAS Challenge. I am DrRamyasri NPC, an educator at ClearIAS. Hope you all are ready for the challenge. Here are the prelims questions.
Question number 1. Which provision of the Constitution protect the privileges of the legislature? Option A, Article 105. Option B, Article 215. C, Article 116. And option D, Article 107. Question number 2. Parliamentary privileges are not applicable to option A, nominated MPs. Option B, Attorney General of India. C, the President of India. And D, parliamentary committees. Question number 3. Which is not correct about the Privileges Committee of Parliament? Option A, there are 15 members in both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Option B, there are 15 members in Lok Sabha and 10 members in Rajya Sabha. C, members are nominated by the Speaker in case of Lok Sabha and Chairman in case of Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha Chairman heads the committee in Rajya Sabha.
What are you waiting for? Comment your answers now itself. Now it's time for mains question challenge.
Question number 1. Without parliamentary privileges, members of parliament cannot discharge their functions as entrusted upon them by the Constitution. Discuss. Question number 2. What do you understand by legislative privileges? Discuss the problem of legislative privileges as seen in India from time to time. Question number 3. What are parliamentary privileges? Are these parliamentary privileges defined under law? Discuss their significance.
You can write your mains answers too in the comment box. We'll be giving feedbacks to the relevant ones. These questions are related to the topic Parliamentary Privileges, which comes under
Paper 3 of the UPSC main syllabus, that is General Studies 2. Under it, Parliament and State Legislature, Structure, Functioning, Conduct of Business, Powers and Privileges and Issues arising out of these.
We'll be discussing this topic in detail now under the heads
Definition, Origin of Parliamentary Privileges in India, Sources of Parliamentary Privileges, Applicability, Types of Parliamentary Privileges, which include individual and collective privileges, Breach of Privilege, Committee of Privileges, Use or Need of Parliamentary Privileges, Issues of Parliamentary Privileges, and Codification of Privileges.
First of all, let's see what are these parliamentary privileges.
Parliamentary privileges, that is, exceptional rights or advantage, are granted to the members of legislature worldwide. Thus, in most democratic countries, the legislatures and their members enjoy certain privileges to function effectively. In India, the privileges and immunities enjoyed by Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha are called the parliamentary privileges. Therefore, parliamentary privileges are certain rights and immunities enjoyed by members of parliament individually and collectively so that they can effectively discharge their functions. Next is the origin of parliamentary privileges in India. The origin of parliamentary privileges in India can be traced as far back as 1833, when a fourth member was added to the Governor-General's Council following the Charter Act of 1833. A new type of legislative machinery came into existence, which ultimately grew into a full-fledged law-making body. The official aversion to the legislature's privileges was diluted after the indirect election to the legislature was provided by the Indian Councils Act 1909. The Government of India Act of 1935 provided that there should be freedom of speech in the legislature. Today also, there are privileges to Parliament and its members. Some of the privileges are specified in the Constitution. Some are statutory, some given in the rules of procedure of the Houses, and others continue to be based on the precedents of the House of Commons. Now, let's list out the sources of parliamentary privileges. The 5 sources of parliamentary privileges are 1. Constitutional provisions. Article 105 pertains to the powers and privileges of Parliament, its members and committees, while Article 194 protects the privileges and powers of the houses of legislature, their members and committees in the states. They state that the privileges until so defined shall be those of the House of Commons, that is, the lower house of the United Kingdom. Article 105(1) of the Indian Constitution provides that, subject to the provisions of the Constitution and the rules and standing orders regulating the procedure of Parliament, there would be freedom of speech in the Parliament. 2. Various laws made by the Parliament. 3. Rules of both the houses. Rule number 222 in Chapter 20 of the Lok Sabha Rule Book and correspondingly Rule number 187 in Chapter 16 of the Rajya Sabha Rule Book govern privileges. 4. Parliamentary conventions and 5. Judicial interpretations. We have seen that the parliamentary privileges are applicable to all the members of the parliament and its committees. The Constitution also extends the parliamentary privileges to those persons who are entitled to speak and take part in the proceedings of the House of Parliament or any of its committees. These include the Attorney General of India. The parliamentary privileges do not extend to the President, who is also an integral part of the Parliament. Article 361 of the Constitution provides for privileges for the President. Next is types of parliamentary privileges. Parliamentary privileges can be classified into two broad categories. 1. Collective privileges, that is, privileges enjoyed by each House of Parliament collectively. 2. Individual privileges, that is, privileges enjoyed by the members individually. Individual privileges include 1. Freedom of speech. The members of Parliament or State Assembly enjoy freedom of speech and expression. This is provided under Article 105 of the Constitution. No member can be taken to task anywhere outside the four walls of the House, like court of law, or cannot be discriminated against for expressing his or her views in the House and its committees. However, a member has the privilege of freedom of speech in Parliament. He has no right to publish it outside the Parliament. 2. Freedom from arrest. No member shall be arrested in a civil case 40 days before and after the adjournment of the House, and also when the House is in session. It also means that no member can be arrested within the precincts of the Parliament without the permission of the House to which he or she belongs. 3. Exemption from attendance as witnesses. The members of Parliament or assemblies also enjoy freedom from attendance as witnesses. Now we'll go to collective privileges. This include right to publish debates and proceedings. Parliament or assembly can prohibit the press to publish its proceedings when needed. Right to exclude strangers. Parliament or assembly enjoys the right to exclude strangers, that is, non-members or visitors, from the galleries at any time and to resolve debate with closed doors. 3. Right to punish members and outsiders. In India, the Parliament or Assembly has been given punitive powers to punish those who are judged guilty of contempt of the House. Next is breach of privilege. When any of these rights and immunities are disregarded, the offence is called a breach of privilege and is punishable under law of Parliament. A notice is moved in the form of a motion, that is, privilege motion, by any member of either house against those being held guilty of breach of privilege. The Speaker or Rajya Sabha Chairman is the first level of scrutiny of a privilege motion. The Speaker or Chairman can decide on the privilege motion himself or herself or refer it to the Privileges Committee of the Parliament. If the Speaker or Chairman gives consent under relevant rules, the member concerned is given an opportunity to make a short statement. Next is about Committee of Privileges. This committee consists of 15 members in case of Lok Sabha nominated by the Speaker. In Rajya Sabha, Privilege Committee has 10 members nominated by the Chairman. Its function is to examine every question involving breach of privilege of the House or of the members of any committee thereof referred to it by the House or by the Speaker. It determines, with reference to the facts of each case, whether a breach of privilege is involved and makes suitable recommendations in its report. It also states the procedure to be followed by the House in giving effect to the recommendations made by it. When a question of privilege is referred to the committee by the House, the report of the committee is presented to the House by the Chairman or, in his absence, by any member of the committee. Where a question of privilege is referred to the committee by the Speaker under Rule 227, the report of the committee is presented to the Speaker, who may pass final orders thereon or direct that it be laid on the table of the House. The Speaker or Chairman may refer to the committee any petition regarding disqualification of a member on ground of defection for making a parliamentary inquiry and submitting a report to him. The procedure to be followed by the committee in these cases is so far as may be same as inapplicable to the questions of breach of privilege. Next, we'll see what are the uses or needs or significances of parliamentary privileges. 1. The exceptions, rights or immunities provided to the members of each house of the parliament and the parliamentary committees secure the independence and effectiveness of the actions taken by them. 2. The parliamentary privileges help maintain the dignity, authority and honor of the members of parliament. 3. Parliamentary privileges help secure the members of the houses from any obstruction in their discharge of duties. 4. For the effective working of both the houses of parliament and their members, internal independence should exist without the interference of any outside party or person. The houses can deal with their respective issues internally without any interference of the statutory authority. 5. The purpose of giving the privilege is not to place the MPs above the law, but to give them a great chance to carry out their duties effectively and independently, to give them some rights to exclude strangers, to punish the members and outsiders for breach of its privilege, etc. 6. It reduces friction, creates friendship, and promotes cooperation between the two arms of the government, that is, the legislative and the executive. 7. Parliamentary privileges help in faster and quicker decision making. Now, let's discuss various issues associated with parliamentary privileges. With more power, the members of parliament will become too arrogant and likely to abuse power. In a democracy, people are considered supreme, but these rights are not enjoyed by common citizens and are restricted to parliamentarians only. Many times, such privileges are misused. For example, Kerala government filed a plea to withdraw criminal cases against its MLAs who were charged in the assembly. The government claimed parliamentary privilege, arguing that the incident occurred inside the assembly hall. But the Supreme Court has rejected the Kerala government's plea, saying that parliamentary privileges are not gateways of immunity. The legislators who indulge in vandalism and general mayhem cannot claim parliamentary privileges and immunity from prosecution. It is alleged that parliamentary privileges are sometimes used to counter media criticism of legislators and as a substitute for legal proceedings. In 2017, for supporting recommendations in two separate reports of its privilege committee, the Speaker of Karnataka Assembly ordered imprisonment of two journalists for a year. It has drawn widespread criticism as an attempt to throttle the media. Legislators have the power to be sole judges to decide what their privileges are, what constitutes their breach, and what punishment is to be awarded in case of a breach. Thus, it can be said that the Parliament enjoys almost supreme powers that clearly impinges on constitutionalism, that is, the idea of limited powers. Regarding this, Amnesty International India's Program Director, Asmita Basu has said that all persons have a right to trial by a competent, independent and impartial tribunal. Breach of privilege laws allow politicians to become judges in their own cause, raising concerns of conflict of interest and violating basic fair trial guarantees. Because of these issues, there is a strong demand that Parliament should frame a law on immunities and privileges enjoyed by it. But Parliament has not framed any law on this matter till date. With no codified laws for what constitutes a breach of privilege, it has become a tool in the hands of the ruling party. It is alleged that Parliament has not drafted such a law because it would curtail the powers of Parliament. Legislators have been arguing that codification of privileges will harm the sovereignty of Parliament. But today, by sovereignty we mean popular sovereignty and not parliamentary sovereignty. It also says that such a law can be challenged in judiciary, leading to further reduction in immunities and privileges enjoyed by the Parliament. Also, it would make evolution of the privileges not possible. But it is true that there is a strong need for codifying privileges and giving primacy to a citizen's right to free speech over legislative privileges. Also, legislators should act within the parameters of the public trust imposed on them to do their duty. Lastly, the legislators who indulge in vandalism and general mayhem cannot claim parliamentary privilege and immunity from criminal prosecution.
So, we have discussed almost everything that you need to know about parliamentary privileges. Now, see the questions once again.
Question number 1. Which provision of the Constitution protect the privileges of the legislature? Option A, Article 105. Option B, Article 215. C. Article 116 and option D. Article 107. Question number 2. Parliamentary privileges are not applicable to option A. Nominated MPs, option B. Attorney General of India, C. The President of India, and D. Parliamentary committees. Question number 3. Which is not correct about the Privileges Committee of Parliament? Option A. There are 15 members in both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Option B. There are 15 members in Lok Sabha and 10 members in Rajya Sabha. C. Members are nominated by the Speaker in case of Lok Sabha and Chairman in case of Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha Chairman heads the committee in Rajya Sabha. Question number 1. Without parliamentary privileges, members of parliament cannot discharge their functions as entrusted upon them by the Constitution. Discuss. Question number 2. What do you understand by legislative privileges? Discuss the problem of legislative privileges as seen in India from time to time. Question number 3. What are parliamentary privileges? Are these parliamentary privileges defined under law? Discuss their significance.
Don't forget to comment your answers to make this session interactive and much more interesting. You can also suggest topics that need to be explained. See you with another topic in the next video. Please subscribe our channel and support us. Thank you.